Hi Cédric, it's nice to see you again. I think last time was in Rome in June.
Yes.
And you met the Pope too, no?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity, yes.
Last time when we talked, we spoke a lot about me and my journey in Africa, crossing 7 countries on a bicycle. So I think now it's your turn. The purpose of this video is to address the international community. Since Cédric has spoken a lot in French about the French context, this time we're looking a bit more in English also at you. So maybe let's start with the first question. Who are you, Cédric?
What do you mean? Who am I?
Tell us a little bit about you. What makes you tick? What makes you be motivated to work as the founder, be the founder of the Climate Risk?
Okay, it's not easy for me to talk about myself, but I will try. It's not easy for anybody, especially for me. But I would define myself as somebody who wants to fix things when they get wrong. So it's a bit of my obsession, and maybe that's the reason why one day I understood that we have an issue with climate change, and it triggered a lot of things with me, and I switched job and I changed job, and I moved to this topic.
So you said you like to fix things. Where does that come from? Like
maybe for a long time ago, since I was a kid. Liking to play Lego and to build things with building blocks. I think it's something very. As a kid, I wanted to be an engineer, but you know the kind of engineer that has crazy ideas and make crazy things. Not the real engineer that I'm today, in fact. But I was thinking of being somebody who invents things. You know, the crazy guy in the movie with the crazy hairs like that, who invent crazy things. Yeah, that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Do you think you managed?
I had a few success in creating a few things like the
so
Climate Risk, but before that, I invented already a game.
True, about wine, right?
About wine tasting. Yeah. So my first invention was a game about wine tasting, and so the Climate Risk is a second trial to invent something about pedagogy. A game, a workshop based on collective intelligence to learn about something. So the first one was about wine. It was called Carpe Vinum, and it was about wine tasting with 2 bottles in a box, and people tasting wine, answering questions about the wine in teams, and in teams there were same concept: try, fail, improve, learn from the mistakes, etc. And it was very funny. It was a very funny game.
So now briefly, can you tell me about Climate Risk and how it all began?
Yeah, so it began in 2015. I was teaching climate change for a few years already, and I tried something one day with the participants that day, and I printed a few slides of my presentation, and I gave them and said, try to find connections between these different components of climate change. And then they started to do the job. I stepped back, listening to the conversation, and I heard them making mistakes, correcting themselves, disagreeing, arguing together, etc. And I recognized that this was collective intelligence, and I understood that it was very powerful to learn about climate change. And from that moment on, I decided that I would use that workshop every time I was teaching climate change. So I did, and I improved it every time.
All right, so Cédric, how did that happen? How did it go from there to where we are now?
That's a good question, because during 3 years, it was still a tool only for myself and maybe a few friends of mine. When I lent it to some friends, they told me that it was great because they were not experts of climate change, and still they said that the workshop works by itself. So that was very encouraging. And then later I had the opportunity to have 900 students do the workshop during one morning. And for this event, I had to recruit 30 facilitators. So I managed to have 30 people trained before this event. And they started with 30 students in front of them. So 5
high risk?
Yeah, high risk. 5 tables of 6 people each. And it was the first time in their life that they were facilitating the workshop. So yeah, it was a big risk, but still it went very well. And the students were really happy, the university also, and above all, the facilitators, they were really, really happy with what happened, and they wanted to go on facilitating. And they did, and they went on facilitating, and we went on training new people to become facilitators. And after a few weeks, I knew we were holding something very big, and I announced that we would reach 1 million people. And at that moment, only 2,000 people had played the game. And, but still, I knew it. I knew it because I saw the dynamics, and I knew about exponentials, and I know that it can go very quick. And when I said that, people really thought I was crazy, but in fact we did it, and it took us 5 years to go from 1,000 participants to 1 million participants, which is a very impressive exponential. And all of this is a result of the community. I only created the game at the beginning, and it was powerful because it was an organic growth, and each fresker feels responsible for spreading the game. Each trainer feels responsible for training new freskers. Every blue belt today feels responsible for training new trainers, etc. So, and this exponential growth is really the result of the work of the community.
That's super fascinating, Cédric. Really, I'm super happy to hear about the background, like especially since when I first participated in a Fresk, I heard about you as the founder, but I've also heard about some of the concepts that the whole thing started with. For example, Swarmwise and Duocracy, and they really, really motivated me to join. So maybe you can tell me a bit more about how that started.
Yes, sure. Swarmwise, it's a book to start with. It's been written by the founder of the Swedish Pirate Party. Very soon he was at the head of a very big community, and he didn't want to be the bottleneck for all the decisions. And he organized his community in a way that they can make decisions on the ground, and they can be very active and participating. And I had the opportunity to read this book because a friend of mine, Charles Siro, was he's one of the founders of the association. He told me about the book just between the moment when we created the association and the moment when we had the first General Assembly with a lot of people attending it. And so I went through the book, and it was very inspiring because it was already the way we were organizing ourselves as a community. And so it's based on several principles, like the rule of the 3 pirates that we took and named the rule of the 3 freskers, and also the principle of duocracy. The people who do things make decisions, and the people who decide to do things, they do it. And it's very important to have these 2 principles. Duocracy is important because if you don't put in place this kind of principle, you will have people who say, we should do this, we should do that, and then nobody does anything. So now people who decide make the things, and then when you decide to do something, you don't want everybody to tell you, oh, you should do that, you should do this. Okay, if you don't want to do other ways, do it. But I decided to do something, and I will do it my way, and then go forward and do it, and do things. So that's duocracy. And the rule of the 3 freskers is also a very powerful principle because it allows you to make decisions everywhere on the ground where people have the ideas. And the principle is very simple. You have to be 3 people to make a decisions, not only agreeing on the decisions, but also agreeing on the fact that the 3 of you are legit to make these decisions. If we all think that we are legitimate to make these decisions, and then we make the decision, you know, it's a very powerful way to prevent bad ideas to come out of nowhere. You see, so it's a way to to be both a control of what will be done, and at the same time, it's very powerful because it allows people to do a lot of things without asking to the governance or anything. So it's a way to organize things, to organize action. It's not a way to make decisions at a strategic level. It's not something that is at the place of the governance, but it's a way to organize the troops on the ground.
in a way, it's very operational what you're talking about. I also know that there is the founding principles, which are in a sense different to the operational principles that you've just mentioned. Could you please tell me a bit about those?
Okay, so there are 4 founding principles, and they were already guiding our action even before the association was created. The first is about the climate emergency, the second about science, the third about humanism, and the fourth about no taboo with money or working with companies. So why is the first important? Climate emergency. We do what we do at Climate Risk because we need to act very quick to save the climate. We know we have a few years only to launch something big at the global scale. And this principle drives a lot of things in the project. It drives the fact that we grow exponentially, very quick, even if it puts a lot of pressure on everybody, we know that this principle is guiding us. The second principle is about science. The workshop is based on an IPCC report, and it's based only on scientific facts, and it's very important. The third is about humanism, because we do what we do for humanity. We want to save the climate because we want to have a livable planet at the end of the century and later. And we do that for the people. So it's important never to forget that we do that for the people, and we keep the principle of humanism in everything we do every day. And the fourth principle is about no taboo with money and with the fact of working with other companies, because you cannot do a big movement without financial means. And the fact that people can do the Fresk for free or for money, it's very important, in fact, because it allows a lot of climate activists to do their job as a climate activist, and at the same time being able to make a living, because sometimes they go and do a Fresk for money for a company or something. And we are not ashamed of that. We are even very proud that we can allow people to make a living out of the Climate Fresk. And so it was important to say it, and to say that we have no taboo with money, and also we have no taboo with the fact of fresking big companies, even big polluters, because in fact they are the first one to fresk. And it's also very, very important to remind that.
All right, Cédric, now let's talk about the community, the actual people who are fresking. Tell me a bit about them.
The community is very key in the project, and in fact we have created the association because there was a community. There were a lot of people wanting to help with the project. After a few months, after the event I told you about with this university, after a few months, it's like I turned back and I saw a lot of people joining this effort, joining this movement, a lot of pioneers, and still today a lot of people joining the movement. And to me, it's very moving to see the enthusiasm of the people in the community. For example, when I hear about a fresk that is happening at the other end of the world, and you learn about it on LinkedIn, it's really great, because at the beginning of the project, I knew all the freskers. Then there were people I didn't know. Then there were green belts that I didn't know. Now there are blue belts that I don't know, and it's because it's too big, and it's really amazing. And when you have such a big community, it's not easy, because the people who have joined recently, they don't have the same history with the project and the people who were here at the beginning. You have a lot of people coming from many countries, different cultures, and we have to have all these people work together and still be a community. So, plus the fact that we grow very quick, and this is shaking. I mean, it's traumatism from the beginning. It's kind of traumatism to grow that quick. You can imagine the growth of the team, the growth of the community, etc. So it creates tensions, and but we have in our principles humanism and the fact that we need to take care of each other and to be caring about the people, and so. Yeah, we have. It's a big challenge to remain a very powerful community, and to also turn ourselves to the rest of the world and go and talk to the people who are very far away from what we are, far away from what we think. We need to talk with people who really disagree with us. That's a big challenge. So you see, this community is facing a lot of challenges, but I trust it. We are a great community. And for this reason, I'm very grateful to the community for what it has made, bringing the project to where it is today. And I'm also very proud to be part of it.
We went from 0 to 2 million. So as the founder of Climate Fresk, what is your dream for it now?
My dream? Before I talk about my dream, I want to share what I believe for the project. I really do believe that this project has the power to really change something in the world. It has the power to help reaching some social tipping point where the whole world will switch to a real ecological transition. And for that, my dream is that we reach 1 million freskers, and not just for the figure, 1 million freskers, because with such a volume, it means that you have the power to reach everybody, to reach every level of the population, from the decision makers to the kids, and all the countries also. And we need to go fast, we need to go far, and we need to adapt to all the context. We also need to try, to fail, to learn, because that's how we work, and adapt all the way long. So my dream is to reach 1 million freskers in order to be able to reach that tipping point.
So we've talked so far about the past, the future, the present, and it's super interesting. But what I'm really interested to know is the structure. So there is the La Fresque du Climat, the association, and there's the endowment fund. Now, for someone like me, I have, to be honest, not much clue of like endowment, what does that even mean, different fund, and intellectual property. Those are words that are not known to everyone. So maybe you could explain a little bit about that.
Well, endowment fund is about intellectual property. So first I need to define what it's about. Why is intellectual property important? Let me give you 2 examples. First example, what happens if I pass away? Then the whole community would have to deal with my family, and maybe they don't have the same vision as me. So it could become a real problem for the use of the game. Another example, imagine a big oil company creates a game on climate with more or less part of the content of the Climate Fresk, and names it the same way. And most of the content is more climate skeptical than pure science, you know. What happens then? That we really need to protect the game. It's protected through copyright on the content of the game. It's protected through the trademark also, the Climate Fresk, Fresque du Climat, or the translation in other languages. All of these things need to be protected so that the community is protected while using the game. And that's the reason why I created the Endowment Fund, which is a charitable organization. And I transferred the IP, the intellectual property, to this Endowment Fund. And its main role is to safeguard the IP and to make sure that everybody in the community is able to use the game safely. And then, as the owner of the IP, the Endowment Fund will give the license to local entities that will use the workshop. It will also set the level of ambition of the project, and it will safeguard the funding principles that we've been talking about.
So now that question's out of the way, what exactly is your role in the Endowment Fund, and how does it work?
So as you understand, the role of the Endowment Fund is quite limited. It's run by a board of only a few people, including myself. I'm the founder of the Endowment Fund, and as such, I'm responsible to make sure that the funding principles are respected. I'm also the chairman at the moment, but it could change in the future. And we, as the board of the Endowment Fund, we make decisions about which entity is going to operate the workshop.
Okay, Cédric, so what exactly is going to be your role in the future, or how do you see yourself?
What I want to do is go on supporting the project. Because I'm the author of the Climate Fresk, people may know my name, and that can open doors. And that's what I like, to connect people, so build a relationship with other organizations. And that's how I want to support the project. And the other way I want to be involved is by meeting the community, because I want to get inspired by the community, and maybe I can also inspire them through my experience, so that through all the things we have lived from the beginning of the project.
Okay, so Cédric, do you ever get anxious yourself? Like, especially when you're thinking of the current state of geopolitics or upcoming elections, or maybe, you know, the rise of the far right in Europe?
It's a fair question. We are all aware of the situation. The climate issue question is going backward, and while at the same time the climate emergency is more and more present, and it's in this context it's normal that fresqueurs or climate activists feel eco-anxiety. I do myself feel this anxiety, but we are aware of what's going to happen if we go on the same trajectory. So we need to go on. We need to wake up, to stand up, and to go on fresking, because we know that people are not aware of climate change. It would be a mistake to think that now everybody knows we need to take actions. Of course we need to take actions, but let's not think that everybody knows about climate. So we need to go on fresking, and that's what motivates me when I wake up in the morning, thinking that we have this tool in our hands and that it's able to really have an impact on the world. And that's the reason why I'm so pushy, and I want to set the level of ambition very high on the project, and reaching like 1 million fresqueurs. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking of in the morning. We don't have the right to let go and to be despaired. We need to go on fresking.
Yeah, you're right. We are definitely all in the same boat in a sense. But I have to say, it's all looking pretty grim out there. So what do you say to people who don't believe that we are going to make it?
To be honest, fresk doesn't work. Look at what we've done so far. In France, we had the opportunity to fresk the ministerial advisors. And did the trajectory of France change about climate? No. We had the opportunity to fresk the exco of big companies. And did they completely switch to a sustainable activity? No. Myself, I had the opportunity to fresk the board of a big oil company in France, and did it change the state of mind of this board? No, it doesn't change much. So fresk doesn't work, and the point is, fresk doesn't work until it does, because one day you will be fresking 10 people and you don't know, but among them maybe there is the next serial fresker who will fresk 100 times more people than you ever do in your life. Maybe next time you fresk, maybe there will be the granddaughter of a big boss of a big polluting company that will switch from one day to the next its business model. Maybe the next time you fresk, there will be the son of a minister of the environment in a country that will completely switch, and you never know. So fresk everybody. So you need to fresk your parents, you need to fresk your husband, your wife, kids, you need to fresk your teachers, your mates, your parents. Fresk everybody, fresk your neighbors, fresk your family. Because maybe.